To truly understand Star Wars, Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, one must first travel back in time, not to a galaxy far, far away, but to the tangible, vibrating atmosphere of Earth in 1999. The air was thick with a specific kind of electricity that modern cinema audiences rarely experience anymore. It was the culmination of 16 years of silence, a period of myth-making where the original trilogy had ascended from mere movies to the status of modern religion. When George Lucas finally pulled back the curtain on the first chapter of Anakin Skywalker's tragedy, he wasn't just releasing a film. He was opening a time capsule that the world had been desperate to unlock. What spilled out was a confounding, dazzling, and often frustrating mix of dry political machinations and breathtaking technological wonder, a film that polarized a generation while simultaneously redefining the boundaries of digital cinema. The narrative opens not with the breathless action of a rebellion in progress, but with the stagnation of a republic in decline. This is the first bold, perhaps misunderstood, stroke of Lucas's pen. He chose to frame the origin of the ultimate villain, Darth Vader, against a backdrop of trade disputes, taxation, and bureaucratic gridlock. It was a jarring shift for audiences expecting the scoundrel charm of Han Solo, yet it was essential for the story Lucas wanted to tell. The Galactic Republic is shown not as a tyrannical empire, but as a bloated, ineffective democracy crumbling under its own weight. We are introduced to two Jedi Knights, the stoic and wise maverick Qui-Gon Jinn and his dutiful apprentice Obi-Wan Kenobi, who are thrust into this political quagmire as ambassadors. Liam Neeson's portrayal of Qui-Gon serves as the film's moral anchor. He is a Jedi who follows the living force rather than the rigid dogma of the Council, a distinction that becomes tragically pivotal by the film's end. Visually, The Phantom Menace was a quantum leap forward, a declaration that the analog era was dead. From the moment the Jedi land on the Trade Federation ships, we are treated to a sleekness that contrasts sharply with the lived-in grime of the original trilogy. The prequels represent a golden age, a time before the dark times, and the aesthetic reflects this. The chrome of the Naboo starships, the Art Nouveau elegance of Theed, and the underwater bioluminescence of Oto Gunja paint a picture of a galaxy at its cultural peak. This visual splendor serves a narrative purpose. It shows us exactly what is going to be lost when the Empire eventually rises. The introduction of Jar Jar Binks and the Gungans, while historically controversial for their slapstick tone and distinct speech patterns, represented a massive technical achievement in integrating a fully CGI main character alongside live actors, a technique that would eventually pave the way for characters like Gollum and Thanos. The heart of the film, however, lies on the desert planet of Tatooine. Here, the grand political scope narrows down to a single, insignificant boy named Anakin Skywalker. Jake Lloyd plays the future Sith Lord with an eerie innocence, a reminder that evil is not born but made. The film takes its time here, perhaps too much for some, but it is necessary to establish Anakin's selflessness. He is a slave who dreams of freeing others, a pilot who feels things before they happen. The introduction of the concept of midichlorians demystifies the Force, turning it from a spiritual energy field into a biological condition, a choice that remains debated to this day. Yet, it serves to highlight Anakin's potential as the chosen one. The interaction between Qui-Gon and SHMI Skywalker, Anakin's mother, provides the film's emotional undercurrent. The sacrifice of a mother letting her son go to a life she cannot understand, a separation that plants the first seeds of fear and attachment in the young boy's heart. The centerpiece of the Tatooine sequence, and arguably one of the greatest action set pieces in cinema history, is the Bunta Eve pod race. This serves as a pure injection of adrenaline, a visceral experience that combines the chariot races of Ben-Hur with the screaming engines of Formula One. The sound design here is a character in itself. The unique hum and roar of each engine, the crunch of metal, and the wind whipping past the canyons create a sensory immersion that holds up decades later. It is in this race that we see Anakin's supernatural reflexes, proving to Qui-Gon that this boy is indeed special. It is a moment of pure triumph, unmarred by the darkness we know is coming, allowing the audience to root for Anakin without the shadow of Vader looming too heavily just yet. As the narrative moves to Coruscant, the capital of the galaxy, the film shifts gears into a political thriller. We see the majestic skyline, a planet-wide city of endless traffic and towering spires, which serves as the seat of power. Here, we meet the true Phantom Menace, Senator Palpatine. Ian McDiarmid delivers a performance of subtle brilliance, playing the kindly, helpful politician while secretly orchestrating the invasion of his own home planet to gain sympathy and power. He is the puppet master, manipulating Queen Amidala, played with regal stiffness and eventual warrior spirit by Natalie Portman, into calling for a vote of no confidence in the current chancellor. This specific plot thread is the machinery of fascism in motion. It shows how liberty dies with thunderous applause, not through invasion, but through manipulation of the legal system. Palpatine's rise is the dark mirror to Anakin's journey. While one boy leaves home to become a hero, an old man destroys his home to become an emperor. The climax of the film is a four-pronged battle that attempts to weave together a ground war, a space dogfight, a palace infiltration, and a lightsaber duel. While the Gungan battle against the droid army often veers into cartoonish territory, and Anakin's accidental destruction of the droid control ship stretches credibility, the duel that takes place in the Theed Generator Complex is a masterpiece of choreography and musical scoring. The Duel of the Fates is not merely a fight scene, it is a battle for Anakin Skywalker's soul. John Williams's score, with its Sanskrit choral chanting, elevates the conflict to an operatic level. We watch Qui-Gon Jinn, the father figure Anakin needs, and Obi-Wan Kenobi, the brother he will eventually have, face off against Darth Maul. Darth Maul deserves specific attention as a villain of pure physical intimidation. With very few lines of dialogue, Ray Park's physical performance creates a terrifying presence. The reveal of his double-bladed lightsaber is an iconic moment that redefined Jedi combat forever. He is a predator, a devilish figure unleashed by the Sith to announce their return. However, the tragedy of the duel is not just the death of Qui-Gon Jinn, but what that death signifies. Dave Filoni, a protege of Lucas, famously analyzed this fight as the Duel of the Fates, because the fate of Anakin hangs in the balance. If Qui-Gon had lived, he might have been the father figure who could have guided Anakin through his emotional turmoil. Obi-Wan, while noble and brave, is too young and too rigid to handle a boy as volatile as Anakin. When Maul's blade strikes Qui-Gon down, the safety net for the Chosen One is severed. Obi-Wan's subsequent defeat of Maul is fueled by a touch of anger, a foreshadowing of the emotions that the Jedi struggle to suppress. The film concludes with a celebration that feels triumphant on the surface but is deeply ominous in retrospect. The Gungans and the Naboo have united, the Trade Federation is defeated, and peace is restored. Yet, as the camera pans across the parade, we see Palpatine, now the Supreme Chancellor, smiling benevolently. He has won. He has created a war, resolved it, and used the crisis to seize executive power. He has also acquired a new potential apprentice in the young Skywalker, who is now placed under the tutelage of an unprepared Obi-Wan. The Jedi Council, initially skeptical, has relented, sealing the galaxy's fate. The final shot of the film focuses on the glowing orb of peace, but the musical cue shifts to the Emperor's theme, a subtle nod to the fact that the Phantom Menace has not been defeated. He has been installed in the highest office. Looking back at the Phantom Menace with the benefit of hindsight, it stands as a fiercely independent and visionary work. It is a film that refused to play it safe, expanding the lore of the universe in directions that upset purists but enriched the tapestry of the saga. It challenged the audience to pay attention to politics as much as laser swords. It pioneered digital filmmaking techniques that are now industry standards. While it suffers from pacing issues and tonal inconsistencies, oscillating wildly between the slapstick of Jar Jar Binks and the stoic monk-like behavior of the Jedi, it possesses a grandeur and an ambition that is undeniable. It is a story about the failure of institutions, the blindness of the wise, and the insidious nature of evil that hides in plain sight. It is a flawed masterpiece, a beautiful, frustrating, and essential opening chapter that sets the stage for the greatest tragedy in space opera history. It asks us to look at a sweet, innocent boy and realize that the monsters we fear are often created by the very systems meant to protect us.